Well, hello again. Storyman Mark Cater with Senior Moves, the art of aging gracefully. So last time we were doing some work on the floor that we're going to bring to standing in this session. So just to remind you, if you haven't seen the previous video, you may want to watch it first, and I'll put a link right here or wherever it is, and you can click on that and watch this first. But we're going to review just a little bit about what we did on the other side. So for the balance stuff, right, we're lying on our backs to start with. We're just going to review what the focus is here real quick. And I'll get in the camera. All right, so from here, you're lying on your back again. You need a pillow or a towel under your head. Parallel legs, which means toes and knees pointing up. Let them turn out, let them turn up. So just see you've got some range of motion here, right? You're always working to come to some sort of conclusion and control about where are your darn legs. How are they connected to your body, right? You can float a foot up, foot flex, right? All right. So last week, or the last video, I should say, we brought a knee into the chest here. Maybe your hands were here. Opposite hand to knee, same hand on shin or ankle, right? So just go ahead and bring it in. Take a breath here. And then put the same hand on your knee, opposite arm out wide. We're going to open the leg to the side. So remember here, you're not letting the leg collapse, but you're just rotating in your hip and letting the leg be placed. So when we're balancing, you may keep your hand on your knee. You may end up taking the hand off the knee, and that goes with all three positions. And then the last position is here with the opposite hand to your knee, and you may have the hand on top or across the kneecap here, and the other arm is out wide and just above the shoulder. And remember, when you lie on the floor, you move the hips across, right? So you open up through that back, and you're trying not to drop the leg. Keep the foot connected, so you can flex your foot, or if you prefer, you can point it, or just reach through the foot and spread the toes out, so whatever feels convenient for you. But when you're in a balanced position, you're actually going to keep the legs together, and you're going to open up your shoulder, so bringing the one shoulder forward and the other shoulder back. And again, you can do all of these standing with a chair by a wall. Bring the knee into your chest. Let's stretch the leg up and take it down. Let's go ahead and take to the other side. So just review it here. Again, you're sitting into your hip, opposite hand to knee, same hand on shin or ankle. And there are many ways to do this. Again, you might be doing it here. You could also be here to start with and then let your arms float, right? So lots of variations. And then same hand to knee, and we're just going to open the door here of your hip, right? We did that gait moving exercise a couple videos ago, and let's just do that here. We didn't do it on the other side, but let's just do it on this side so you can see you're holding the foot, the lower leg bone, and the upper leg bone in place while you move from your hip. The opposite hip stays down, and then if you go too far, you pull the hip off the floor, and that would throw you out of alignment, and therefore you probably wouldn't be able to balance very well. So the leg is off, it's in place, you're scooped and hollowed, and you just feel that rotation here lifting through the heel. And then bring the knee back to the center. Again, toe and knee toward the ceiling here, the opposite hand to the knee, and then for lying on the floor, you bring it across and you roll over on the hip here. So you're opening up, and this arm may float off the floor. That's fine. When you are, again, balancing standing, you'll be here, and then you'll open this way, or you may just have your hand on your hip. But we'll get to that in just a couple minutes. And then bring it back in, and stretch the leg, and let it come down. And let's do a little windshield wiper action here. So just walk your feet in, arms wide, and both knees can go over to one side, just kind of a knee drop, and then the top hip presses into the floor, the other knee comes up and drops across. And just go back and forth a couple times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now there's two ways to do this. Right now, we're moving both legs pretty much at the same time. But there's another way to do this, and let's practice that. So now, the top leg you open fully, so you get to open up the pelvis, and then once you get there, you pull the other leg across. And again, it's open and close the door, open the door, close the door. And while you're doing this too, I like to do this when the knees go across. I look at the opposite direction, and it's open, and look the opposite direction. One more time. And last one, zoop. And come back to center, stretch the legs out. All right, now we're gonna practice getting up off the floor, right? So you're gonna place the feet on the floor, come over onto a side, either side, it doesn't matter to me. And you can just take it here for a moment, and then your hand can be on the floor, and you can use this hand as well as the other hand, right? But you're going to use that top leg, push, and bring yourself up. You have to use your core here, and come up to here, right? And then there's many ways you can come up to standing from here. But one way is to just keep going all the way over, come onto your hands and knees, lift your knees off the floor, and walk the hands back and come all the way up. So that's one way. Another way, real quick here, is to stretch it out. And from here, you come right around and push and come up. All right, so now we're up off the floor. Once again, you may be by a wall. You may have a chair hand, because you can do all of this stuff with your hand on a chair, a table, a wall. And we're always working the leg outside. So here we go. So we're not going to use the chair for the moment if you can't. So we're just going to alternate, taking a little bit of balance, picking one knee up. Again, you can take hands to your knee, touch them here, and then down, other leg up. So when you do this, you're moving through your core, you're reaching out from your arms. I mean, you don't have to use your hands, but because of what we're going to be doing in a moment, I want you to try to feel the connection here. And again, as you do this, you may go, I'm not being able to get my foot very high off the floor. So then, go ahead, use a chair and just do the same leg a couple of times. And then switch sides, right? And try that a couple times. Okay. So, when we were lying on the floor, our legs were parallel. So bring your legs parallel. Now you may find for you, you're going to actually let the leg turn out a little bit, because that's going to be your better base of support. But you're going to shift the weight onto your left leg and see if you can just pick the right foot off the floor a little bit. Again, the chair can be handy. And then come to center. And then shift, again, reaching up through the top of the head, let the other foot come off the floor, right? And just shifting. So we're not going this way, but it's about reaching up this way. Again, just a nice subtle sense of balance here. And last time, again, you may be using a chair. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to work without it. Okay. So now we're going to do the balance. So you may only use one arm, one hand with this if you're holding the chair. Otherwise, the knee comes right up, opposite hand to knee, same hand on shin or ankle if you can. You may use your hands here. You may even have a towel or something, because you can't get your foot very far off the floor, underneath your thigh, towards your knee. So what is best for you? And you take a couple breaths. Now for variation here, you can just hold your knee in the hip socket and let the arms reach out wide. And this foot then, let's point and flex it. Again, you may have a hand on a chair. Circle your foot. Circle your foot the other way. And let's do inversion and eversion. Just those simple movement patterns through your feet. So I'm coming back to those forever, right? Because you want to wake up those toes, right? And then stretch it out and bring it down. Good, and then you can face the other way at the chair, right? Or just put it on the other side of yourself. And we're going to bring the other knee up. Again, you're feeling that little bit of shift here. The leg floats, opposite hand to knee, same hand on shin or ankle. You may let the arms float free. Again, you might have a hand on a table, a wall, or a chair. And let's point and flex the foot. Circle your foot. Circle your foot the other way. and inversion and eversion. And stretch it out and bring it down. Nice. Okay, now we're going to take the leg off to the side. And this can sometimes have particular problems for folks because they're not isolating where they're moving from. So bring the other knee up. Again, you may have your hand at your knee. Maybe the hand is under your hamstring here. But you want to connect for the moment. Flex the foot. The other hand could be on your hip even. Maybe out wide. Let's open the door of your hip. Right, so you open it off to the side. Now here's where people kind of let their leg, kind of let their foot go back and let their hip drop, right? So when you open it to the side, that's really what you're doing. You just, now here I'm done. That's my full range of motion. If I try to go past that, I start pivoting on the other hip. And for our purposes, we're trying not to do that. And you can reach with your arm. Point and flex your foot. Circle your foot. Circle your foot the other way. Inversion and eversion. You can figure that one out. And then bring the knee back in and set it down. Good, let's take the other side. Again, what's going on with your center? Your hand could be on something, right? All right, let's pick the other leg up. Your hand can be at your knee, the other hand on your hip or wide. So you're taking a breath here just to kind of settle in, and then we can open the leg to the side. Again, you don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to drop as you go over. Lift that foot to the back. So the foot's flexed. You can keep the hand here, let the arms reach. Point your foot and flex. And circle. Circle the other way. And inversion and eversion. And bring it back to the center. And bring it down. Good. Very nice. All right, this is the tricky one. Opposite hand will be on the chair. So you're gonna, this time you're gonna lift the leg that's closest to the chair. You're gonna pick it up. And then the hand comes across, just like we did lying on the floor, right? Move down here a little bit. Just like your hand was on the floor, you may have your hand on the hip. So you can see this shoulder is already starting to reach across toward the twist. So all you do is you bring that right shoulder back here, in this case with my left foot on the floor. And if you want, you can reach the arm back. So when you were bringing the knee across, lying on the floor, this arm was extended. And then release and come down and face the other way. Again, the knee comes up. If you're using the chair, you use that same hand. The other hand comes up across the knee. Again, you can use a towel here if you want. The other hand can be at your hip. If you want, you're bringing that front shoulder forward, the back shoulder back, as you kind of sweep up through your lower back and out the shoulder. Now we didn't do this on the other side, but the next little trick here would be to turn your head and look at the other shoulder. And then release and come down. Very good. And let's go ahead and shake it out a little bit. And those are 3 standing postures. Let's take one foot in front of the other, reaching low to high, to just kind of stretch your back out a little bit. So, carrying it over, you may have to bend your knees. If you can't, keep your legs straight. And maybe you only reach to your knee, maybe you reach all the way to the floor. And then bring it all the way back up the spine, bringing the pelvis underneath. And here today, let's reach the arms right past your ears and right on up. Right? And then bring them back down and carry it over. And bring it up. And reach. And one last time. And bringing it up And let's take the hands behind, lace your fingers together, and extend the arms. And release. Good. Let's switch. Other foot in front. It's just, you can see it's just a small step in front. And lifting up, flat back, extending out and over. Eventually, you start to lift up here, but you may find that you only go so far and you start to round. So you're studying to try to figure out a way to reach and lift and lengthen through the back here to carry you forward. And then bring it up. And let's do that 2 more times, going low. And we're going to add the arms this time. So when you come up, you can reach the arms all the way up. Keep the ribs knitted together. And bring it all the way down. Again, move as slow as you need to. Trying to maintain the sense of control so you're not dropping. Last one. And once again, you can bring the hands behind your back, place your fingers together, and extend. You can use the towel or a strap there too, right? You may have remembered to do that. And release. All right, that's it for today's lesson. So, practice, practice, practice. Right? Yoga is considered a practice, right? The more you practice, because you have to figure out what it feels like in your body. And that often is the issue, because you're not in your body, but connect to your breath. How do you use your breath to be in your body? How do you use your breath to lift the leg? Right? And then, of course, these things can be done holding your foot. You can extend your leg, right? So there's a lot of variations and a lot of ways yet to go. But the basics, we're just trying to get the basics down for some of you. And there it is. So thanks for watching. Once again, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit the like button. Leave a little comment if you have a question or a comment, right? If this is working for you, tell me what's working for you. And that's it. So subscribe, hit the notification button so you don't miss another release. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. This is Storyman Mark Hader saying ta-ta from Senior Moves, the art of moving and aging gracefully.